Hi there, welcome to Coffee Break Plans. Today's topic is my current planner stack following my mid 2025 reset. Now, if you've looked at the thumbnail and thought there is no way she uses all of those planners every day, you are absolutely correct. I actually only use 3 planners each day. The first one is this one. I'm going to start with this big boy, this big chunky planner that I have here. This is my Happy Planner, and this is where I do all my time and task management for both personal and work. For many years, I've shied away from these. Some of it is the fluffy quotes and the garish colours that they use. I'm Gen X and I grew out of rainbows and unicorns decades ago. I'm not entirely sure that I ever grew into those. But as I was watching videos on YouTube, the versatility of an adjustable, customizable system was starting to become really appealing. So I thought I'd have a look at how I could use it in my own system. So I've put together this planner here. It is a Franken planner. So I've taken several layouts from different Happy Planners that I purchased on special, and I've smushed them all together to make a system that works for me. Everything clashes horribly in it, so I just warn you. So you have this beautiful cover, and then boom, it goes into this riot of whatever that is. But I don't tend to look at that. I tend to just open it up every day and see what's happening. So you have your year at a glance, and then you have your future logs. Well, I call it a future log. I think everyone else calls this a perpetual calendar. Lists are where I've just come up with some things that I think would be really useful to have a list of that I can just quickly scribble in. Another top tab takes me to notes. I actually bought these dashboards to use in my normal planning system, but I find that when I'm doing a weekly spread, I, I want to see the whole week all at once, and then of course this blocks out half. So here I have some note pages where I can just write quick notes if I need to. So into my personal system, I have a top tab here for this week. I have been for many years using a vertical weekly, but I just wasn't that busy this year as I was last year, so there wasn't really any need for all of that space. I'm going to try all this dashboard system, which I think will work really well. So I can have a running task list over here, note down anything else I need to here, and this is where I do my daily planning. I then have a side tab for my work, and here is where I've been using this for a few months, and believe it or not, I have been doing it. When I first looked at it, I thought there's no way I have time to do any of this at work, but I have been doing it. Although I have found that my monthly goals tend to get thrown out pretty quickly as something more urgent comes up, but that's just life. My weekly system in here, I was using a vertical with a top box and an hourly layout here. Nothing was fitting in there. I had all this unused space down here and a jam-packed space up here. So I'm going to try all this layout instead. I can put my top priority and tasks associated with that here, any other tasks for the day in here, and then any appointments and meetings down here. So I'm going to try all that. So and at the back here I have the spears, and at the moment I'm using it to stash some daily pages where if I have a big day coming up and I need to really break down all my tasks and priorities just for a single day, I have this available here. I can just take it out and shift it into the relevant month or week and go from there. The next 2 notebooks that I use on a daily basis are these two. These are both Sterling inks. One is a Common Planner A5 vertical. This one here is a 5-year diary, and I'll start with a Common Planner. Now I purchased this with the intention to use it as my task and time management. So I needed these vertical weeklies. So as I was using the weeklies, first of all, I was finding the columns were just a little bit too narrow and I wasn't getting as much use out of it as I thought. And of course, I just wasn't as busy as I thought I was going to be, which was a good thing. That is not a complaint. So I found that a lot of the space was being left blank and it just felt like a real waste. But I still use this planner for all my goals, my trackers. I use the monthlies as memory keeping, and of course I do my daily journaling in here. You have about 370 odd blank pages at the back, and I've been using that for my daily journaling. So the final journal that I use every single day is my 5-year diary, and this is another Sterling Ink product. It has space for 5 years, as it says on the tin, and I started last year and I just write some basic observations from the day. So usually it's just quick notes on what's happened during the day. There's also space at the beginning and the end of each month, and that's where I do like a photo of the month and I'll often do maybe a summary photo that kind of wraps up everything that's happened for the month. So those are the 3 journals that I use every single day. Now we're on to the ones that I use a little bit less frequently. The first one of those is this here. This is my capture notebook, and I bought this for a specific purpose in 2024, and once I was finished with it and no longer needed it, I still had a lot of blank pages at the back. But what I really like about it is that it's really small. It fits into a handbag or a jacket. It doesn't fit into women's jeans pockets, of course, but then I don't think anything does. And it's really, really messy. I keep shopping lists in there. I sometimes make notes of things I want to put in my daily journal, which I keep at home. And I make sure to transfer all the information out, and that is the secret of a good capture journal. And when I'm finished, I'll just get another small notebook and replace it. I also have a cleaning planner, which I'm not going to go through in huge detail. I have my cleaning schedules at the back where I've just printed out pages of each task that I do and the frequency that I do them on. A monthly schedule for each month where I list all of them. These are all the monthly tasks that I need to do, and then I assign an annual or biannual one to each month. Right at the front, so I can find it really easily, I write out my task lists for each week of the month. So we are in this week here, and I'm currently in the process of steadily getting around to do all these things. And then I also track it. So I have a monthly tracker. Biannually, I have all my months, of course, all noted all down. I dot when it's due, and when I've done it, I tick. And the same thing for the annual. So last year, I finally started keeping a separate journal for my reading. So this year I have it down to a fine art, or at least I think so. I have some goals down here, some really basic goals. I have my monthly themes, and I don't assign it until I get to it. I've been really trying to focus on cleaning off all the books off my bedside table. It is not going well. I think they're breeding. Then I have my book bracket. I have a book matrix. I've done some waterfall tabs to keep track of all the books that I read through the year. I'm up to 50, so that's pretty good. And then for each month, I just have so this is a Dutch door, and I just have my January to be read, and then I write a very quick summary of what I thought of it. And then February follows straight on from there. If you're particularly stupid, you can manage to accidentally cut through your elastic band, but I've tied it together and it mostly works. We will see how it goes. So very quickly, 2 notebooks that I'm phasing out this year this is my travel journal. This is an Archer and Olive traveler's notebook size. So what I was using it for is just setting out my pack list, and if I had a sort of a complicated system of flights or car rental, etc., I would use this. But that was before I got back into my daily journaling, and I realized that I was writing something down in my travel diary, writing it down in my daily journal, and then putting some brief notes into my 5-year diary. So I was repeating the same information 3 times, which I just felt was stupid and inefficient. This is a really nice notebook, and I would really like to continue using it, but it will be for something else. So the other one is this little it's another Archer and Olive travel notebook, and this was supposed to be for my long-term collections, so all that information that I used every year, year after year, or at least it was supposed to be, but it ended up being where I kept a whole lot of financial information. And I've since transferred all that information into my financial spreadsheet, so I don't need to pick up the book and look at it anymore. It's automatically where I need it in my spreadsheet. But again, this is a really nice notebook, so I will find another use for it. And last but not least, there is a notebook that I am introducing, and it is a commonplace book. Now this is a Lectern 1917 that I bought to use as my bullet journal this year, and then for various reasons shifted into a different system. And what I've decided to use this for is to fill a gap that I noticed. Like back when I was bullet journaling, I would often write down book quotes or movie quotes or just little bits of information, like kind of fallen out of that habit, and I really wanted to get back into it again. This is what my long-term collections was supposed to be, and so I've decided that I will use this notebook for that purpose. So that's it, that's everything. It was nowhere near as bonkers as it looked in the thumbnail as promised. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.